Now, I know a lot of you football fans will have watched this match squinting through the acrid plastic smoke in your kitchens because you burned the Trent Alexander-Arnold shirt in the back garden, but the wind brought it in through the cooker hood, and now your wife's home and she's asking questions of herself, questions that her mother had asked on more than one occasion about you being her partner. Sorry, where was it? Andy Brassel, welcome to Ramble React. Have you burnt a Trent Alexander-Arnold shirt yet? I have. I've done 3.
No, in fact, Petey, I have been one of the people who's done quite well out of it. I suppose a bit like Jacob Rees-Mogg shorting the economy post-Brexit. My 13-year-old son no longer wants his Trent Alexander-Arnold keyring. So that now belongs to me. I got a free keyring today. It's very shiny, the 66 Liverpool shirt. It's got the Champions League number font on it, which is particularly up my sort of alley. So it's nice.
You could file it off and add another player to it, a player you like more. Maybe.
Well, you know what? It's weird because it's come in a pack with like a little tin key fob, but also this like pin badge. I don't really know who would want a Trent Alexander, even if they really loved him. I don't know who would want a Trent Alexander-Arnold pin badge. I don't know if you're interested, DM me during the show.
Get Andy on Twitter if you want this Trent Alexander-Arnold. The magnet, let's make it very clear. Sorry, no, the key ring. Is there a magnet involved as well? The key ring is not up for grabs. We cannot say that. That is not up for negotiation.
That's safe. That's safe.
You've
got for me.
And so it finished tonight in the Premier League. Crystal Palace won, Nottingham Forest won. You felt, Andy, that there was a third goal in this match, and it could have come from either team, probably. But we didn't get it in the end, which is the biggest surprise. It all got a bit spicy. The referee lost his earpiece, I think. There was a bit of earpiece drama at one point, and we had about 10 minutes of injury time. It all got rather confusing, and it all fell to bits. It was a dodgy finish.
Yeah, it was funny, Pete, because I kind of felt that once Forest got themselves level, you have this feeling, and I suspect everyone watching it had this feeling of, there we are, they're pushing for the win, they need to guarantee European football for next season, keep up with Chelsea, and they're right properly in the Champions League place. But they're right properly in the Champions League race. But I kind of felt they got a bit scared, actually, after they equalised. They were a bit more focused on, it felt to me, on what they could lose rather than what they could gain. And if there was a team more likely to score a winner, particularly after the injury to Murillo, of course, it looked like it was going to be Crystal Palace. And who knows, if they'd have left Mateta on, maybe it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think a man who allows himself to wear a Corinthians shirt to a training session, not for Corinthians, is a man who's quite willing to, bring his aura with him, let's say. I think when Murillo did go off the field, Forrest did lose a bit of impetus, if it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not just about like his character. It is definably about the way he plays as well. I can't think of many centre-backs that dribble the ball out like him. I mean, he's such an exciting player. I guess like the closest I can think of off the top of my head is like Eric Abidal, when he started out at centre-back when he was at Lille, when he was first playing top-level football before he even went to Lyon, let alone Barcelona. But those sort of centre-backs are really rare, because even centre-backs who are comfortable on the ball, they're comfortable on the ball for centre-backs. You wouldn't trust most of them in midfield, would you? So it's something totally different. So, I mean, if he turns out to be missing, like to the end of the season, I think that's a huge blow for them. Even though you look at where they are, and even if they've stuttered a little bit in recent times, they can definitely build towards that final game with Chelsea.
Definitely. And I think with him, there's so much more to come from him, because he's not a finished article, is he? No,
he's not. And, I think we can all be a little bit guilty of that sometimes. We sort of look at a player who's got promise and is good now, and we think, okay, they're going to be relentlessly consistent. And consistency is the most difficult thing to find in the modern game, because they'll play so much. So everyone's entitled to have a couple of crap games now and then. Now, I suppose, like with Murillo, the one is the goalie was responsible right at the end of Forest versus Everton, where they were pushing for the winner, and Everton did them on the break. Now, look, Forest hadn't been particularly good that day, but getting the results to get yourself in the Champions League or to win a title or whatever, it's not about performing brilliantly every week. It's being able to churn out the results, and they weren't able to do that because one of their most reliable players made a mistake. And as you said, I think he can get better and better and better. Like, he's only just come into the Brazil team, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come from him.
Yeah, so in the match itself, it was a relatively quiet first half. I think we were a little bit worried about...
Generous.
I think we were a little bit worried about how Ramble Reacts... Nothing happened. We were a bit worried about how short Ramble Reacts was going to be, but it really did kick into life around the 60th minute, where Eze obviously scored his penalty. And it said, I think, on the BBC ticker that he'd banished the Newcastle United penalty demons. And I was like, quite close to what he did at Newcastle, to be honest. I still don't trust it. Don't trust it.
He hit it better.
He did.
It almost feathered Sel's fingertips. I mean, he wasn't a million miles away. It was funny because Don Goodman, who I love, he's one of the best co-commentators out there, was saying... Sel's had no chance with that. He looked pretty close to it to me.
He had chance. He had
a chance. It's fair to say. But it's funny, the whole Eze thing. It's making me think of the way that Robert Lewandowski takes penalties. The sort of, because he does sort of half Neymar with the little jog, and then Lewandowski where he does the stride that looks like a stop, but he would suggest, and referees would obviously agree with him, that it is within the rules because it's a continuous motion. I was chatting to someone about this a while ago, actually at half time in that Newcastle Palace game, where he missed that penalty when I was at the game at St James's Park. I think it was Charlie Wyatt from The Sun, I think, from memory, and he said, I don't see how referees can allow that. And I was saying, well, look, it's a continuous motion. He said, is it though? Like really, is it? And I watched it a couple of times afterwards, and I think Charlie's kind of talked me into the fact that it's not a continuous motion, actually. So it's very hard the way the rules are at the moment. And the last thing I think football really needs to do is reword a load of rules, because it gets itself into all sorts of trouble when it does that, and we end up with weird unintended consequences, and it makes simple rules more complicated. But I think the way that Eze takes penalties at the moment, and the way that Robert Lewandowski takes penalties at the moment, we all instinctively feel, don't we, that it's kind of against the spirit of the game, but it's hard to really define exactly how it's wrong. Is there an actual stop? And I don't think there's a real answer to a question. There could be my opinion and your opinion, but I don't know if there's a definite answer to it.
We and you almost sort of think that maybe like 10% are out of bounds and 90% are fine, because that stop is so, the change of direction, the change of the three actions, the constituent actions that go into the actual penalty taking, the briefest of margins in between those three sort of animations, so to speak. Well, I mean, we either need the slow-mo guys from YouTube to film them with a 10,000 frames per second camera, or we just need a kind of man in a trench coat in an underground car park just to stop them while they're getting in their car, sort of go, stop this. Football's got bigger problems, and we don't need this nonsense.
You're a naughty little bastard.
Naughty little bastards.
Or you could come on the pitch with a stick and prod him until he actually takes it.
Yeah,
just prod him from behind.
Do it properly, for crying out loud. But obviously the big news today about Eze, we'll come back to the football, but this is the main meat of the situation with Eze. He won an online chess tournament last week, hosted by a chess company, chess.com. It's the major chess... My mate Al goes on chess.com every night of the week, and he's quite a good, county level, kind of national level sort of player. He's good chess player, my mate. His league form just goes up and up and up during the week, and then Friday and Saturday he sits down and drinks cans and ruins his league form. He drops like a fucking stone every Friday and Saturday night. It's like Sisyphus, but with more vaping. It's incredible. It's good stuff. But
so you're telling me he continues to play, but he plays drunk?
Yeah, he continues to play and ruins all the good work that he did at the start of the week. It's awful.
It's basically Arsenal in the 1980s, isn't it?
Yes, pretty much. He needs an Arsene Wenger character, possibly an underground car park. We don't know. But Eze did win an online chess tournament. Another competitor apparently was booted out for cheating in the opening rounds after looking at the live stream chat. Myself and I think Marcus were posting pictures in the WhatsApp of footballers playing chess. You had obviously Eze's playing at a decent level.
Yes.
He the way he wins this tournament is hilarious because on Twitch you can see the footage. He basically is whispering because it's really late at night, and he's going. And as soon as he wins, he just goes, I've got to go to bed now, bye. And he just goes to bed. And he just goes to bed. I think he won an amount of money for it as well, which is hilarious.
Right, okay.
So, it's incredible stuff. But it's just funny that you've got like people like Mo Salah being pictured playing chess with his daughter. You've got obviously the famous Louis Vuitton shoot with Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. And the actual, did you know that the chess pieces on that Louis Vuitton game that they were playing was actually, they'd actually put it in the right positions for I think it was the young guy who did a bit of modelling, that chess player from back in the day. I do forget. He was playing a Japanese chess player. Basically, it was a famous chess match that took place in history, and they put the exact pieces out on the actual thing. Ben Chilwell played Reece James during lockdown, and they filmed it. They were fine, and Chilwell in particular is quite good at it. But they did start the match with the White King and the White Queen in the wrong spaces. So proper rookie mistake. Because of that first half, I spent most of my time looking at chess. Footballers playing chess through history. Pep Guardiola's been seen playing it. I think it's a good form of sport for players. Just spending a bit of time in the bedrooms. To be honest,
well,
it's not hippie crack, is it?
Of course, yeah, exactly. Of course, Guardiola presumably got a bit of coaching in his year off between Barcelona and Bayern, because when he went to live in New York, he became mates with Gary Kasparov, didn't he? So it's like, if you became pals with Steph Curry, you'd learn how to shoot a decent three, wouldn't you? I find it impossible to imagine that Guardiola can't at least play a little bit and has at least a few like pro tricks, right?
Oh, I could see him in Central Park playing with the old boys on the public chessboards, and the bird lady from Home Alone 2 just running around behind the background. I'd love a bit of that.
Don't talk about the bird lady from Home Alone 2. It's one of the most terrifying things in film.
It really is. It really, really is.